If you've ever wondered whether the vicar has skeletons in her closet, now is the time to find out, because this is my wardrobe. You might be wondering what I'm doing here in my wardrobe. Well, let me tell you. At the end of this month, it's my daughter's 16th birthday. So for the past week, I have been ordering presents online and I've been hiding them here in the bottom of my wardrobe. Don't tell my children that this is my hiding place, otherwise it will ruin the surprise. That said, a couple of days ago I was talking to my daughter and she announced, "Oh, I know what I'm getting for my birthday. I know that you've ordered me a weighted blanket." It transpired I had ordered the present online through Amazon, and our Amazon smart speaker, Alexa, had told her. Suggests to me that maybe Alexa is not quite so smart after all, and the surprise that I was thoroughly pleased about was ruined. This Sunday, our Gospel reading comes from John's Gospel, chapter 14. And in the preceding verses, Jesus has been warning his disciples that he is going to leave them because he will die. And he's been trying to reassure them that everything will be okay. And so he says, "I will ask the Father and he will send the advocate to help you." He's promising that he will give them a gift, the gift of the Holy Spirit. This isn't a mystery gift because the clue is in the name. He uses the word advocate. Now, in other versions of the Bible, that's translated as comforter or counsellor or consoler. He's giving us a clue about the kind of gift this will be. Now, many of us have probably heard the story of Pentecost when the disciples received the gift of the Holy Spirit. We know about the rushing wind and the tongues of fire. We know that the disciples spoke in other languages and that the crowds thought that they were drunk. And I think for some people that very dramatic story can be rather daunting. And actually it can make us wary of receiving the gift of the Holy Spirit. We read that story and we're not really sure what kind of gift the Spirit is or what the Spirit will do in us. Now the gift, or one of the gifts that we've bought for Evie, is a weighted blanket. And a weighted blanket is exactly what it sounds like. It's a blanket that's really heavy. And the idea is that when you get under that blanket, it feels like you're being enveloped in a hug. And it has a calming effect and it can help to alleviate anxiety. Jesus tells his disciples that the gift that he is giving them is the comforter, the counsellor, the consoler. This is not a gift to be wary of or daunted by. This is a gift that is like a metaphorical hug. It is being wrapped in the love of God. All the stuff that happened at Pentecost, all of that froth, you might say, that was the release of joy that came after they were given that comfort from God, after they received the assurance that everything would be okay. Now, many of us, when we talk about the work of the Holy Spirit, we think about external things. And yes, from time to time, there are external things that might happen. I've had a very small handful of experiences of the Holy Spirit that are a bit like that Pentecost experience. And yet for me, that is not the work of the Spirit that I treasure. The work of the Spirit that I treasure is that deep internal work. Just last week, I was out walking the dog and I was reflecting on everything that's happening in the world at the moment and all that it will mean for the church and the future. And there is a huge sense of uncertainty. And I was thinking that ordinarily I would find myself overwhelmed by those things because I am a planner and I like to be in control and I like to know what's going to happen. And yet I found myself thinking, I feel okay. I feel okay at the moment, even though I don't know what will happen, even though I know that there could be all sorts of painful things and sense of loss and change, but I feel okay because I feel held by God. I feel comforted and consoled by God. And I have to say, I stopped in my tracks and thought, that is the work of the Holy Spirit, because that is not the natural Bridget. I tend to be a control freak, as those who know me well will know. That is the work of the Holy Spirit, who in the midst of all of this wraps his arms around us and holds us steady So I'm receiving that gift of steadiness at the moment. Don't be wary of the gift of the Holy Spirit. God longs to offer you his comfort. And maybe for some there will be a release of joy as well. But right now, he wants to wrap his arms around us. So perhaps it would be fitting to finish by saying, Alexa, send the Holy Spirit.